welcome to IRL Season 6 Round 12 at Japan. I'm joined in the comms booth with Kevin Harrison.
Hello.
Good evening, Kevin. So today we're at Japan. We've got 14 drivers, so a bit better of a turnout this week. As unfortunately, as you saw in F2 last week, we didn't have the best turnout, and that was because there was a charity event, but the turnout should be better in the future. And we do have some new drivers today who I'm going to go on board with now. We've got Raphael. Some people may know. He's a very quick driver, probably one of those guys to challenge for the top today. Let's see how he does in his debut. We've also got Harrison come back as a reserve for today. He's made it in. And also we've got Dylan there as Nexus Chaos. He was in the I think he was in the Toro Rosso if I was correct, but he couldn't make a few of the races and unfortunately got dropped as a reserve. And he is doing his debut today as well. So Kevin, before we go on about the race and the weather, what is your qualifying prediction out of everybody today?
I would be, obviously there is a few new drivers here as well. As you said, Rafa could be at the top today. But I would say that Matthew's going to take the pole. I'd put Lewis behind him, and then I would put Raphael third.
Right. Well, quick input from Sondre. Could you just quickly do the tweet on Twitter for him, dead quick, if you can?
Okay.
And while you do that, I'll go for my top four. I think Brandon and Matthew first and second, Louis third, and I'm gonna go with the debut driver today, Raphael or Rafa, for fourth place. I know it's really a wheel track round here, as we can see drivers already leaving the pit lane, and it's Sterling who's going to be out first, and for some reason I was wondering if the camera angle was weird then. But right now, as we wait for Sterling to go around the track to get ready for his qualifying run, I'll just go through the drivers' standings dead quick if I can find them. There we go. While it loads. I say I'm right, yeah, Sterling is the first one to be out. As right now in the drivers' standings, currently Matthew Alder still in the lead, not being touched yet in the drivers' championship. 178 points to his name. However, he has got a person who's closing quite quickly now, with I believe 4 wins in a row now. Louis in P2, 128 points right now, with Mark SP in third for the Haas F1 team. As Kevin, can you just go over Sterling's qualifying lap as I'm just going down the standings?
Yes. Okay.
J. Drawbridge with 93 points, and in fifth Brandon Glover with 73 points.
Yeah, so Sterling's on his lap. He's obviously on the soft tyre. We should see quite a few people going for the softs, as it is kind of standard for this track. Now coming up to the hairpin, it's a tricky braking zone, especially if you have ABS off. He seems to get it pretty clean. Now he's got a little bit of traffic up ahead. It might help him though. It's just mainly straights next, so he'll get a little bit of a benefit from a bit of slipstream.
Yeah, hopefully that Red Bull gets out of his way.
Yeah, he's still getting slipstream, and now we're oh, that was close.
No, that wasn't close. There was contact. Harrison moved at the wrong time, and that has come to blows. Wow, that lap from Sterling will not be valid. Well, it will be valid, but it won't be a good lap, and I can just tell he'll be furious since he's lost a bit of his wing there.
I didn't see it. I thought that it was very close to touching, but
it was basically like Vettel and Leclerc, where they just touch and their tyres fall off, except instead of tyres falling off, it's front wings falling off. As Can sets, oh, actually, that's what too soon. Louis just set the provisional pole position lap, currently 127.3, and Dylan says 129.2 in P3 right now on the set of soft tyres, as he has come back from a long break, so it's going to take him a while to get up to speed. There's yellows in sector 2. Now, is that Sondre? It's not. Sorhaug hasn't bottled yet. Lee Kelly is currently on a... Oh, actually he isn't. Do you see anybody else on the lap right now?
I think...
Oh, Diego's
Matthew Alder's finishing his lap through 130R.
As here comes Matthew Alder, Championship's point leader in the Renault.
Oh, that's a big cut. That's probably invalid.
And it is. Oh, he almost hits the pit wall there as well. But as I've just noticed, Raphael, the debut driver today, 27.8, currently in second place right now. A few tenths off Louis, and just a few hundredths ahead of Louis' teammate Diego. And Diego has already been showing some interesting pace in the Alfa Romeo as he replaced Harrison, since Harrison dropped as a reserve. Now, I've noticed Sondre is on a lap right now, and I know he will be on a quick lap. He's been doing a lot of practice at this track right now as he's approaching turn 11. Now we're getting into turn 12. Got to say a bit of that ERS though if he wants to use all that hot lap energy around the track. Coming up now to turn 13. Nice and tidy into turn 14 now. Nice and tidy entry and exit from the Sorhaug. Oh, almost into the gravel however, but still got a nice tidy exit. He's now approaching almost 190 miles an hour. 192.3 miles an hour through 130R. Coming into the final chicane at turn 16 and 17. Into turn 18 he goes. He is out of energy deployment. And here he comes to the line. What time's it going to be? It's going to be P5 currently at 128.8. That isn't the best lap I've seen from Sorhaug. He has done quicker, but maybe that is a banker. As I believe, who's ahead in the outlaps out of Brandon, Tom, Sterling, Lee and Harrison? And actually, my question's already been answered. Sterling's been answered. So Kevin, if you want to go on board with Sterling right now and come to up with his lap.
Yeah, let me just find them. Okay. So in sector 1, through the S's, it's very tricky and you have to be quite on point with your turn-in and where you slow down the car. It looks pretty good around sector 1. Coming into the near flat-out right-hander there. Coming up to the hairpin, as I said, it's very easy to lock up if you don't have ABS on. And once again, he takes it quite well. A little bit of oversteer on the exit. Now, powering down to Spoon Corner. You have to get it quite right here. Make sure you don't go wide. You might have went a little too wide there, slightly compromising his exit maybe, but it looks pretty clean so far. Coming into 130R flat out. And then it's the final chicane. A little bit of a lockup, but it doesn't seem to have affected him too much. And now coming up to the final part of the lap, and that is a 28.4 that puts him in 4th.
Good lap there from Sterling. He will be hoping to do a lot better with his qualifying runs and in the race, because last week I believe he got his first podium in IRL after a great result and a great drive for the Williams team. And now we're going to go on board with Brandon the Man Glover. He is in 10th place currently, as he's just done a lap, a 129 flats. He's currently in P9 currently right now. Don't know if that is a banker from him. He has been struggling a little bit. He should be able to improve on that time, hopefully. As Lee Kelly and Lee Kelly is round in the turn 14, so he's struggling in the McLaren. Alder, who took over Leon's spot in the McLaren, has been showing a lot of performance in that team, scoring a lot of points, I believe, last week. Currently he's in 14th with no lap time, but he is on a lap right now as he's approaching turn 11 now. Coming up to turn 12, got to get it nice and right. And he's got a lot more ERS than what Sondre has, so maybe he might have enough ERS all the way to the end. But he's coming into turn 13 now. Got to get a nice entry. As the Alpha gets out of the way, very smart from the Alpha there. Into turn 14 he goes. Great exit there from Caden, probably one of the best exits I've seen out of everybody on the F1 grid currently. As here comes Caden now, approaching 130R, miles faster than Sondre, 196 miles an hour into 130R as he's approaching the tricky chicane. Turn 16 and 17, easy to invalidate. Into turn 18 he goes now. What time is it going to be? Is it going to be a low 27? It's a 27.9, P4 from the McLaren driver from Caden. Great lap there from him.
Yeah, that puts him P4, and he actually seems quite competitive. Although Lewis right now seems to be the absolute quickest, although obviously times will improve as the session goes on. Diego, I think, is on a lap. Actually, a few people are on laps right now.
Yeah, at the moment I'm on Chaos, so it's Dylan right now who is on a lap on the Williams. But I think he's actually backed off. So did you say Diego's on a lap?
Yeah, it looks like, and Lewis as well.
Is Diego ahead or is Louis ahead? Diego's ahead.
Diego's ahead.
Well, you watch Louis, see if he's up on his time while I keep an eye on Diego. It's currently, no Delta has gone up yet, but he's doing a nice tidy entry in sector 2. In turn 13 and 14. Maxing out now.
Lewis approaching some traffic with the Ferrari there.
As Diego is 2/10 up on his time in 130R, so he's going to do a 127.6 or 127.5 possibly, so he will take possibly P2 unless he's found a lot more time. 127.5 invalid.
Yeah, Lewis is 2/10 up after sector 2, but it looks like he got invalidated in the last chicane, so he came into the pits, so that would have been quite a lap.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Kevin, but I just got that completely wrong. Diego actually didn't invalidate his time, he actually did a lap time, but Rafa was just ahead of him and improved as well. Only a few hundred separate these two drivers right now. It's going to be very close in the race. As Matthew Alder, if you want to go, actually speaking of Matthew Alder, he's just doing a 127.6. Well then, if you want to commentate over Tom's lap right now, I believe he is on one. In 13th, TC Tom.
Okay. Into the hairpin in the scarlet red Ferrari. Seemed to have taken that quite well. He's obviously not going to time in, so he'll want to get a banker at least in now. With 5 minutes to go, there's a little bit of traffic. Diego, just on the right there, gets off the track and out of the way well. And then he might be gaining a little bit of extra time down the straight from the cars, a little bit ahead, a distant tow. Coming into the chicane, a few people have invalidated here, and he may have invalidated there as well. But he's continuing on and coming up to the line. It's gonna be a 28.0, that is.
Yep. So it wasn't invalid as we first thought. As the only person who hasn't done a lap right now is the youngster Lee Kelly. He's currently been having a lot of problems for the season in the McLaren, struggling for grip, and has had a few retirements, which hasn't really helped him out in the championship. However, though, right now he is in the pits, and hopefully he will get out soon. There's only 4 minutes and 49 seconds of the session remaining. I'm going to go on board with... we're going to go back on board with Harrison, because I believe he's about to finish the lap, and yes he is. He's now approaching 130R. 5/10 up, apparently he is. He is 5/10 up on his time, so that's going to be a 128.5 right now. So let's see what Harrison can do. As Lewis Marshall, it's giving Lee a little bit nickname. 6/10 improvement from Harrison there, 128.3. So good lap there from Harrison, promotes him to P7. Right now, as I'm going to have a look in the intervals, sorry, the gap to the leader. Right now, from P7, the gap to leader is under a second, but from 8th to 14th, no, sorry, from 13th for people doing laps, it's over a second, almost 2 seconds in from 13th position. So Louis done a very good lap right now for 127.3, and that was his first run.
Yeah, and he can easily go quicker as well, because earlier, unfortunately, getting invalidated, if he didn't invalidate, he would have extended that advantage. So he looks to be the absolute favourite around here.
As I believe Can is gonna, no, Can actually isn't on a lap. He's actually coming into the pits. However, Dylan is actually going to be the first one to be out on a flying lap very soon, unless Harrison's still on one. No, he's not. He's 3/10 down. Gotta say though, with the podium position Sterling got, how do you think that motivation and what's what I'm looking for, like feeling he'll get if he can do that today? Do you think it'll be a definite confident boost for this week, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, getting the podium last time out, he was very, very happy with it, and he was looking to maybe repeat it. I mean, obviously he'd love to repeat it, and it will surely give him a confidence boost. He's down in 8th at the moment, but I'm sure he can go a little bit faster, and yeah, I think he can do quite a lot better, especially with a confidence boost of the podium last week out.
As now Dylan has just done turn 1. Oh, I don't know what McLaren that was. Was that Lee Kelly? That may have been Lee Kelly. That was very close to Dylan. That could have easily lost Dylan a wheel, and possibly could have given Lee a 5 grid pace penalty with the Codemasters penalties. However though, Dylan is on a qualifying lap. Let's see what his delta is in sector 1. 2/10 currently up on his time. So he may say a 29 flat right now. So Dylan is pushing a little bit, and I've got to give Williams some credit. They haven't had the best start of the season, but neither have McLaren, and they're their constructors' rival right now, as McLaren in 9th has got 37 points and Williams with 29 points, when Williams last week were actually on 14, but with Sterling's great performance for podium, straight to 29 points. So I know there will be a challenge with Williams and McLaren. Oh, that may be invalid for Dylan. I think that is invalid. However, he's still carrying on. Pushing now into 130R he goes. Not the best lap from Dylan there, as he's made a few little errors. However, now he's coming into the final 2 corners, into the little kink. Out of ERS, coming to the line. What time is it going to be? It's going to be a 1:29.1, so only a 10th improvement from his first lap. So Dylan's having a bit of problems in the Williams right now, as currently we will go on board with Caden. I believe he is the first McLaren, and then we'll go on board with Lee Kelly. As right now, Caden nice and tidy through turn 1 and 2. Into turn 3, 4, 5, and approaching now turn 6 and 7. Nice and tight there from Caden, no little errors, not running wide, not touching the grass. Dunlop corner he goes. Beautiful drive so far from Caden, but he has to remember there is a Williams ahead of him who isn't on a lap now. Geez, 126.9 from Louis. I thought he wasn't going to improve anymore. That is a very quick lap there from Louis. Wow, 126.9. That is really quick. What do you think of that lap there, Kane, for Louis? Do you think that'll keep him pole position?
Well, it's looking like it. He's obviously got 6/10 up on the next guy, which is Rafa, so it doesn't look like anyone can beat it, but you never know. And obviously people are still finishing the laps, so we'll see if anyone can get close to it, but it looks very, very quick.
And speaking about finishing laps, here comes Caden to the line. What time's it going to be? It's only a 10th improvement, 127.8, promotes him to 5th place. What about Lee? Oh, Lee's actually crashed somewhere in the straight, so he is going to start in P14, and that McLaren has got a bit of damage, it looks like. And we're going to go on board with the Sorhaug himself, currently in turn 12, approaching into now turn 13, I believe. He said he has got an Alpha in front of him. Now into turn 14 now, though. Nice and tight there for Sondre. Matthew Alder does improve. Oh, and there's a Red Bull spawn. Almost could have ruined Sondre's lap. McLaren gets out of the way. Very sensible. But Diego's currently in P2 right now, so it's Alfa Romeo 1-2. Will Sondre spoil the party? As Matthew Alder tried to, but he's currently in P3 at 127.4. As here comes Sondre now around the final corner. What time's it going to be? A 128.1 there, so P7 right now. As the only people who are on laps is Brandon Glover, but he's made a mistake, and you can tell. That's really frustrating as he locks up in frustration. Gotta say though, Kevin, I feel sorry for Lee Kelly as he's done a 2-minute 27 banker, basically, after he's made a few errors. Do you think this will affect him mentally in the race?
Obviously, nothing really went well in qualifying for him, so it's not really going to give you much confidence going into the race, and confidence can be the difference between winning a race and not finishing on the podium. So I think it will take a toll on him, but if he keeps his head up, then he could come through the pack today, I think.
As now I will go down at the qualifying official results. Louis is in first place with 126.9. His teammate was the only closest person to try and challenge him, 3/10 down. Diego in P2, so Diego is doing great for Alfa Romeo, but it's not great for Renault because they're going to have to start worrying. As Matthew Alder is in third, and just as the time runs out before I can read the rest of the grid, as I'll catch that on the formation lap. Oh no, maybe that's why a few people weren't pushing. It is full wet, it looks like, on track. As 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. I think we lost 2 drivers, actually, because the lobby leaderboard looks a bit smaller. I don't know if there's been a glitch. Oh.
I don't... Oh yeah, actually the grid does actually look smaller.
There's only 12 drivers, there was 14, so there's 2 drivers who have lagged out, and I possibly believe that is actually Nino Romanello and actually Tom there, so those 2 have lagged out, and I don't think they'll be able to make it back into the session in time, which is unfortunate, as Lewis also says what I've just said in the chat. As we wait for everybody to pick the setups, got to say though, before we look on the formation lap, what is your race prediction now for the top 4?
Obviously Lewis looks like the absolute quickest round here, judging by qualifying. He seems kind of untouchable. Obviously the rain will play a factor, but I think he'll still come away with the win today. I'll put a Caden second. Maybe something happens on lap 1 and he capitalizes on other people's mistakes and ends up with second, and I'll put Matthew Alder in third.
Well, in my race prediction, I think Louis is actually going to dominate in the wets. Diego in second, so Alfa Romeo possible another 1-2, with actually Matthew in third. Also, I'm actually going to agree with that as your top 3, and that's what the race is going to be done, because I don't think there'll be a lot of overtaking in this track on full wets, because it is a very tricky track to master, especially on full wets. As I got 4th was Rafa in qualifying, 5th is Caden in the McLaren, 6th was Tom, but unfortunately he's lagged out, so it's actually now 6th is Sondre in the Renault, so Renault will be happy with that, an extra 3 slot on position. Can is now 7th, Sterling is in 8th, Harrison in 9th, Nino Romanello, who also lagged out, unfortunately, so Brandon is in 10th, Dylan is in 12th, and Lee Kelly, I think Dylan's in 11th, Lee Kelly's in 12th. My apologies there. As Lewis Marshall is saying, the Bottle Haug is going to crash on lap 3. He is calling it. So that isn't the nicest thing to say, but I do agree with you. But not on that lap. I think it's going to be lap 1, turn 1 for the Bottle Haug. However, though, we are going closer to lights out in the full wet Japan, as it looks like the monsoon in the real life race, which I believe stopped qualifying, has actually hit us today in Japan. As there is a few ghosting. As Kevin, get ready to look at the back of the grid for me when the race starts, and then we'll take it from there. As Louis is getting up to his grid spot, will it be another win in a row? I believe it is. This, if he wins today, this will be his 4th win in a row for the Alpha and for himself. As we're getting ready for lights out. Waiting for the lobby to get ready. There's yellows in sector 3, but we have 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights now. And we're off, and it looks like Louis got an okay start. Diego has had a decent start as well, but Matthew Alder's had a poor start in the Red Bull of Raphael. Oh, and there's contact already down the grid. Is that Matthew Alder out of the race? The championship leader has had huge contact between Raphael and the Alpha of Diego. Don't need to look at the back for any calamities, and Matthew Alder has already lost a big chunk of his front wing there, and Raphael has lost a lot of his wing as well, and so has Diego.
Yeah, I think Nino and Thomas are lagged out. I can't actually see them. I can't expect.
Yeah, they have lagged out, but I've got to say though, that crash from Matthew Alder, Raphael and Diego, I was not expecting that from the top. And this is, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Bottle Haug is in P2. What has he done? Has he got a jet engine in that? Like seriously, he has got very lucky to get out of the way of that carnage and contact.
Well, there's always lap 3.
Correct, as always. Lap 3 as Caden just makes a move now on Can for P3. Oh, Caden's a bit lagging right now. His connection isn't the best, but he can manage it. He's currently in 3rd, Can in 4th, Harrison in P5, Brandon 6th. Good start from Brandon Glover. So good start from Lee Kelly as well, 7th. Dylan Day is ahead of his teammate in 8th as Sterling runs extremely off the track, struggling for grip as he gets a good entry, but Matthew has to remember he has wing damage, so he shouldn't be really fighting right now, and pushes Sterling into 10th, Diego in 11th, so Raphael is really struggling on the damage to his front wing. As right now Louis is coming up to the final 2 corners to start lap 2. As Paco Suarez says, oh my god, the most random thing you'll see. I think he's on about Bottle Haug. Now though, Kevin, that start between Raphael, Matthew and Diego, I don't know what happened between them. Did you get a better camera angle on that instant, or?
No, I was looking down a bit further back, and then I saw a few cars going wide, so I'm not really sure what caused it, but I think it was maybe a 3 wide moment, maybe into turn 1, and obviously in the wet that will never go well with the way turn 1 in Suzuka is naturally, so I think that's no one's fault particularly, and I think it's more just the way that the corner is with 3 cars trying to go into it at once.
Yeah, I do have to agree with you. It reminds me of the Singapore between Vettel, Kimi Räikkönen and Verstappen when it was inners and they just came to blows. And I know this won't be good news for Matthew, but I guarantee Louis got a big smile on his face and absolutely pumping right now. He's currently in the lead and his championship points leader is in 10th. Only going to score 1 point currently right now, which isn't good for Matthew in the championship stakes. As Lewis also agrees what I have said, as right now there is a crash in sector 2 and that is Dylan Day out for the Williams team, and that is unfortunate. So the Williams are the best start, currently 8th now, and well, was 9th for Dylan Day, but right now Matthew Alder will get an extra point as there's a huge battle right now for P4. Brandon trying to go through 130 on full wet against Harrison. That is very ballsy, and Harrison gets a 5-second time and a bit of a lockup. However, there's a battle for P2. The Bottle Haug versus Caden, Renault versus McLaren. McLaren have been in the real life season miles better than the Renault. Will it be the same yet again as Dylan has left the session? Sondre is trying to defend, and no, there we go. Caden gets P2. Now, with Sondre maybe trying to just save the tyres as much as he can. And this has thrown a spanner in the works though, Kevin, I have to say. The pit stops, will it still be a 1 stop or will it be a 0 stop on those wets? Do you think people could manage to take those tyres to the end?
That is actually a good point. Obviously, wets can usually go the distance, although 1 stop compared to a no stop is usually similar, I think, in race time. So we could see some people maybe trying a no stop. I'd say it's possible. I mean, I'm not 100% sure if it is or not, but yeah, it's something to think about. Obviously, I think we could see someone maybe trying to pull it off.
Well, it's currently right now, Brandon Glover is absolutely flying, and Lewis Marshall did say in the chat, Brandon is good on inters and wets like you and me, Kevin, in Monaco, what we did, but right now, Brandon is on form on those wet tyres, a lot faster than Harrison right now, and possibly looking for a podium position from starting near the back of the grid. As right now, he's right on target on Harrison. Just waiting, trying to get into his slipstream, but he's just, at the moment, looks like a lot more downforce on his car compared to Harrison, who's got a bit less downforce. And right now, as it looks like Caitlin's actually getting caught. This could be a 4-way battle for P2 right now. Oh, Sondre has made an error. Sondre looked like he made an error there. Actually, no, it was actually Harrison taking a corner cutting line. As there goes Brandon now on the outside, making a move on Harrison. So there goes the Mercedes driver into P4. Good job from him as he's trying to make Mercedes get back at the Haas F1 team in the constructor standings, as I believe Mercedes are in 4th place right now. No, sorry, Mercedes are actually in 5th with 98 points. As Lee Kelly's now currently getting attacked by Can. Oh, it looks like Lee is really struggling on tyre wear right now on the wet tyres. It looks like already, because Can's all over him, and it just looks like Lee hasn't got the confidence on these wets. He's had a good start, however, but right now his rear end looks really loose.
Yeah, obviously he started 12th, now up into 6th place. Obviously he was slightly helped by people getting caught up and stuff, but he, to be fair...
Speaking about him, he's actually gone off. He's lost a chunk of his wing there.
Yeah, I was about to talk about how he kept out of trouble, but just as I was about to say it, he went and got damaged, so I'd say that he's probably going to have to limp back to the pit lane now, because that looks like
Is it cyclone weather though? It looks very wet on track. Now, I don't know if it's going to be wet all the way through the race. Could be inters possibly. But right now, is it possible for a cyclone period where the safety car will come out and salvage Matthew Alder's race and Diego? But currently, as Lee's really struggling on those tyres.
And he also gets a 3-second penalty as well.
So that is harsh for the youngster Lee Kelly as he comes into the pit. Harvey Sterling will be loving this now though. He's in P7. This is how he got a podium last time, as Lee gets a 5-second time penalty added to his time as well. That is unfortunate for the youngsters as well, as I did remember Matthew Alder also got one. However though, Sterling's alright now, he's in P7, maybe a bit off the pace, but this is what he needs if he wants to try and get a podium. People making mistakes, and the person who isn't making mistakes is currently Matthew Alder, 144.8 right now. He's still in 8th place, but he is flying right now. I bet he's flying with anger and emotion from the incident, which could cost him the championship later in the season. And speaking about battles, there is a 3-way battle right now for P3. It looks like Harrison and Sondre. Sondre's actually lost P3, as I've just noticed. Got to give Ball the credit though, he has done very well to hold that position for more laps than Lewis Marshall thought he would have finished the race in.
Yeah, obviously he got past lap 3, so I guess everyone trying to say that Sondre would make mistakes, to be fair to him, he really didn't. And he's running in P5, he's in the slipstream in a kind of small train that's going for P3, so to be fair, he's had a pretty good race and he's put himself in a pretty good position.
As Lewis does say in the chat, Sondre does hate the wet, and I know he hates the wet. He doesn't like it with no ABS, he doesn't like it with ABS, he prefers the dries. Unfortunately, he has to deal with it today, and it probably is going to affect him. However, though, he's doing very well right now for P5, ahead of his teammate Matthew Alder, even with that crash. As currently, Raphael has just got 3 second time pen added to his time, so that is crucial for the Red Bull driver there. As just gonna check something. Can you just look over how the battle between Brandon and Harrison for a minute while I just check something?
Yeah, looks like it's kind of a 1-by-1 and we also have Caden not too far up the road either, and it looks like Brandon has pretty good pace in the wet, as does Speeds does, so it looks like we could end up seeing a 3-way fight for P2, and it looks like Sondre is now falling off this little train and kind of settling into a bit of no man's land in P5 because there's no one too near him, and if he falls back, if he continues to fall back like he is, then I think he's going to kind of settle into a bit of a lonely race, but we'll see.
Well, speaking about a person who isn't in a lonely race right now, it's Sterling and Can currently battling for P6 right now. So Sterling is struggling in the Williams with a bit of twitching there on the straight, but he's catched up with Can. So as the Williams team fixed the problem of the Williams car.
Yeah, Sterling right on the back of Can, coming through 130R. Can looks like he doesn't really have much straight line speed right now, and this could allow Sterling to... Oh, he's actually trying to go around the down the inside there. But,
very audacious.
Yeah, backs out of it just about, doesn't hit into him, and that actually gives him a bit of a worse exit, but still, Can doesn't look like he has much straight line speed. Obviously it is raining, so maybe he purposely did that, but it looks like Sterling, maybe with a little less downforce, is looking a little bit quicker.
And it does look like Sterling is quicker in the corners there, I've got to say that. On the straight possibly equal, but right now he's a lot quicker on the corners, and Can's taking a bit wider lines than Sterling just to try and keep grips on his tyres. Now, I don't know if it's me, but does it look like it's starting to lighten up a little bit, like the rain's dying down?
I'm not really sure. It does look like maybe it's died down a small bit, but I don't really think we'd be anywhere near Inters.
Oh, here comes Sterling! A very audacious dive bomb into the hairpin, and it hasn't worked! He's run extremely deep. That was very audacious, but it was...
Yeah, he had a little bit of a drift there. Turn right to go left kind of thing.
Oh, as he's done a correction slide there also into turn 12, so he's going to have to do a lot of work to try and catch back up on the racing point. But currently the lead between Louis and Caden is almost 10 seconds. Louis is absolutely flying. The gap between the leader and Matthew Alder is 33.2 as Louis in, as he got damaged. Or is it Inters? Are we very surprised if it Inters, because it don't look too ready for Inters right now. Is Caden coming in? No, Caden stays out. As yeah, Louis is paying for Inters. That is very surprising from the Alfa Romeo. As now he is coming out on track, so he's the first one to make that strategy call. Now this strategy call could be extremely crucial, and it could go extremely wrong as there's battling further behind. Sterling finally got past Can, so he did get ahead eventually. Will he get ahead of Louis? No, Louis gets P5, and a bit of a gap between these two, and he's on the intermediate tyre. Could easily go wrong, overheat, and make him spin out. And he's not really finding the pace that much, so let's try and see if he will catch up with the Bottle Hawk himself. However, Matthew orders into the pits. Oh, someone is round. Someone is round. I don't know who that is. It's Lee Kelly. Lee Kelly is round. Matthew Order also pits for the Inters, so Matthew and Louis, two championship contenders, are being very risky on their strategy calls as Lee is struggling on those wets.
Yeah, it looks like the strategy call to box this lap
as Lee comes in as well
is working out, because Lewis is making very, very big gains on Sondre. He's gained, I think, about half a second in half a lap already.
Well,
so
speaking
it looks
about
like
someone,
the Inters are the tire to be on right now.
that is correct. However, the wets still look grippier for Brandon right now. He's closed up on Caden right now for pole position, as Harrison's in third, backed off a little bit off Brandon, but Sondre is in fourth. Now Sondre's getting caught quite quickly, actually. You are right, Louis is now 2.3 seconds from 3.8, I believe, from the pit stop strategy, and right now Louis is flying, so maybe this may salvage Matthew Alder's race, as he's took his 5-second time penalty in the pits, as the Renault team should be getting ready for Sondre.
Yeah,
as Caden and Bran. As ball comes in the pits, Louis will take the lead yet again. Now Sondre is in.
This strategy call from Louis was perfect, and now it's going to allow him to just extend the advantage that he already had. So it looks like he's going to be way out in front.
Sorry to cut you off there, Kevin, but Sondre has just got ahead of Harrison. It looked like Harrison actually had a 5-second time penalty added in the pit lane, so Sondre's got ahead of Harrison. Now this will give him a bit of motivation to try and catch up with Caden. Only 5.6 seconds ahead. Could easily be caught up quite quickly.
Caden was also jumped in the pit lane because they went in Caden, then Bran, and now Bran's ahead of Caden.
You are right. Oh, as Diego is in the pits as well, also for the Alpha team, going on a pair of Inters. So it is the Inters now. The only person who isn't on Inters is actually Raphael, and Raphael's still struggling out there, currently in 10th place. I've still got to give him credit for his debut after a long break off F1. He's doing alright for P10 on the wet tyres, but however, Caden and Bran battling for P2. There's another battle further down the track. Sondre
and Rafa gets a 5-second time penalty coming into the pits.
That is unfortunate there for Raphael, but however, Sondre and Harrison are also battling for P4. So it's Renault engine versus Mercedes and Honda today, it looks like.
Yes, it looks like Harrison has the speed over Sondre. He could have maybe thought about moving the speed there. He had so much overspeed, but he sticks behind.
As it looks like, actually, I've just noticed the gap between first and second is 16.6 seconds. Louis has found a lot of time on those intermediate tyres, and Brandon, it will be happy with second right now.
Harrison bit of a down the inside of Sondre into 130R.
Oh, very gutsy.
Yeah,
it must have worked.
The intermediates is a beautiful move. And very bit risky going side by side when it's wet as well, but he made it work and he's up into fourth. Now we can start chasing after Caden.
You're alright. Right now though, Sterling's in P6. This is where he was, I believe, last week. I believe we were at Australia, and a few earlier retirements later on in the race got in P3. So could Sterling be on another podium? Oh, as he runs a bit wide into turn 2. Howard the battle for P3. Excuse me, the battle for P2 actually right now is still Caden and Brandon right now. The gap between Caden and Harrison, 6.8 seconds. So this is the only battle we do have on track. McLaren versus Mercedes. Hopefully we'll see that in 2021. I believe that's actually Lee Kelly. Yep, that is Lee Kelly. Lee is cans lagged out, but Lee is into the wall and I think he's stuck. Nope, he's getting moving. Is he manually retiring the car? Now, where's Louis? Louis approaching 130R, so Lee has to be careful. Because right now, as we'll go back on board with Louis, here comes Louis now. As Lee is going into the pits, being sensible, I think he is going to call it a day for the McLaren. As he's getting really fed up, it looks like. Now with the battle for P2, it is holding up between Caden and Brandon Glover. Currently under 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, Caden right up the back of him. He's going to get slipstream as well. Going side by side in turn 1 isn't going to be the most favourable thing, but he is closing on the straight. He's well going to be side by side by the time they get to turn 1. Into turn 1, side by side, he's on the outside, and they just about don't touch, and Bran keeps the position.
This is why Bran's good at. He's very good on the inters, but so is Caden. But I know Bran is great at defending. I've been battling with him before at another track. He is a bit faster, but he's very good where he can place his car right in the middle of the track, using all the space he can to defend that line. and right now Caden has to pay for that, as Can luckily rejoins back to the session and hasn't lost that much time, probably only lost a few seconds to Matthew. However though, oh, bit of a lag there from Caden, so Bran has to watch out. Oh, Caden almost loses the rear there, but I don't know if that is actually lag or that is actually him losing the rear. As right now, Lee actually didn't retire or leave the session. He's still in P11, so he's actually giving it another go. Got a big gap to catch up if he wants any points of this race. But however, McLaren will be happy with one of the drivers, and that will be Caden right now, battling for P3. This is what they've been wanting for the start of the season. We just had a bit of bad luck, and I think that bad luck has gone away, but it could easily come back, as right now Brandon still ahead of Caden right now.
Yeah, a little bit of lag from Caden's car once again, but he seems quicker than Bran right now. And in the slipstream, he's going to get close up a lot into the final chicane, as Bran has a little bit of a slide there. And this time he looks a lot closer as he nearly loses.
Yeah, you are right. That's because of the bump on that track. Yeah, he lost his rear there, the bump on that track. But however, that still didn't hurt him that much.
I think that he did lose it, but not as much as it showed, because his car is lagging a little.
However though, this is the only battle on track. It's the very close battle we have on track right now. Oh, as Caden makes another mistake. Oh, that's lag. Hopefully he can fix his connection, because it's affecting my commentating skills. As there's yellows in sector 1, and I believe that's Lee Kelly. Yes, it is. And if I was Lee, I'd just pull it to the side of the road, as he's struggling right now in the McLaren. He can't find grip at all. As Lee just gets a 3-second time and he's out. He's into the wall. So he just, I don't know if he deliberately crashed there or he just lost control of the McLaren. That'll be a very expensive bill for the McLaren team. As Paco cheekily says, what commentating skills? Well, you know, touche. However, Louis still in the lead, 20.9 seconds from Brandon Glover. Louis is absolutely on form right now. However, though, Brandon is still under threat. Oh, Rafael though starting to set fast laps.
At the end of this race, Louis could just pit for fastest lap and still win and get maximum points as well. The way he's going.
Well, right now it looks like the track's getting better, like drying up, because there's a lot of fast times getting set. Now 140.7. Now we're 10 seconds roughly off dry times. Oh, big lock up there from Bran. Caden almost rear ends him. However though, I've got to say, do you think it could dry up? Because there is a bit of a dry line starting to form on part of the track. I've just noticed, it looks like.
Yeah, and we're just under the halfway mark as well. It is obviously drying up. I think we could see a dry patch soon, but if it gets dry enough for softs, or slicks rather, we'll see.
So right now Caden's still struggling in the S section, which is the best section actually of the track. I do love it. Good twisty turns, possible overtake moves, you can get the grip right on the tyres. However though, Bran will be absolutely loving this. He hasn't made one error at all. A few lock-ups now and then, but that happens. But right now, Caden is managing to match him right now.
Yeah, Matthew Alder's also close up on Can.
Oh, that was another lag spike. It looked like Caden just went through Brandon there. Jesus. The connection isn't the best for Caden. We have
a battle for 7th, or 7th now.
Well, I will go on board with that very shortly. However, though, we are on the battle for P3. They're on the straight now, so if you could keep an eye on that battle for P7, mate, that'll be great. As here comes Caden now, really closer. Will he go for an aggressive attempt in 130R? No, he thinks about it. Goes the other way. Will he get him into the centre and Prost corner where they collided famously in the McLarens? No, he doesn't. However, Caden's had a decent exit compared to Bran. Will Caden finally get him on slipstream and tow? He's being very aggressive, trying to cool his engine down, look like there a little bit, just to try and get more straight line speed. Will he go on the outside into turn 1? Here comes Caden, here comes Bran. Bran again, it just defends the car perfectly and holding P3. Our battle for P7 now. Brandon and Can as we're on board. Matthew Alder closing up, only a 10th down on his PB. as it's still raining. However, it doesn't look like it actually is drying up that quickly. There's still clouds around, a bit of blue sky. As Caden's actually lost a bit of time now, 0.8 of a second to Bran. So this is a close battle we have on track, and the battle we will stay on. Championship point leader versus Can in the racing points. As I believe last week was having a good race. Unfortunately, I believe he had contact with his teammate and another driver, I believe. Could be wrong, that could have been F2. Right now, Matthew is all over the gearbox of Can right now. Under 0.3 of a second. Lost a few tenths there in the exit of the corner. Will Matthew go for a lunge into the hairpin like Sterling tried? No, he doesn't. Wasn't close enough. Have a look at the grip. Can's losing it against Matthew Alder.
Yeah,
as Lewis is new fastest lap. Oh, that was close. I'm sorry that he's shouting. I can't like really shout because my throat is still hurting. I thought Matthew Alder almost collided with Can on my screen. Very close there for Matthew Alder, and Matthew will be happy now with P7. Not going to be happy at the start of the race, of course. He's still going to have that in the back of his head, but right now he's in P7, going to get, I believe, 6 points right now, and 7 with the fastest lap if he has it.
Yeah, that's correct.
As right now Brandon Glover is in third as Caden's lagging. They're on the side by side through turn 2. Here comes Bran. Bran has to give him room. Caden is there. He is alongside. Oh, that was very aggressive from Bran. Almost turned right into Caden. Almost could have sent Caden spinning. Caden's getting a bit frustrated now. He's losing a bit of time now to Harrison. Currently the gap is now 3.2 seconds, and they've lost a lot of time from Louis. 25 seconds. Louis is in another world right now. Louis is flying. Back to the battle though for P3.
I wouldn't count out him pitting right at the end to
there is
go fast lap, because he may as well. He's no reason not to.
Sterling versus the bottle out.
Caden's down the inside.
Sterling, a very aggressive move, sends Sondre off. He was allowed to do that. He was alongside. He didn't shove him off completely. That's Sondre making an error there. It looked like Sterling makes the move fair and square. Great move there from Sterling, unless he is going to wait up.
The hairpin, as you were talking about another battle, Caden went down the inside of Bran, just wasn't able to make it work.
Oh, unfortunately we didn't get on board with that. However, though, it worked for Sterling as Sondre made a little error and gets shoved into the grass. No contact though.
Caden's right up the back of Bran.
The rear almost gets kicked out from Bran there. Caden's getting a bit too aggressive with Bran. He knows he's a lot quicker than Bran. Oh, there could be another bit of contact.
That was very, very close into the braking zone there. And now Harrison is really closing up on this battle.
Yeah, currently gap now 2.8 seconds, 2.9 now. So he's getting close. Oh, Bran's made an error, it looked like there. Bran defending again, yet again on the inside. Was there contact there? Because I just switched camera angle.
No, there was no contact, just Caden kind of just backed out of it because it wasn't really on his teammates.
Oh, it's his lag again.
Yeah.
Apologies for that. I thought he ran off. It's currently Matthew Alder gets ahead of his team at P6, so this will definitely be Team Alder's play from Sondre right now, since he is going to try and help his teammate out in the championship. Currently now going to get 8 points. So 8 points, add what he has, I believe, is 186 points. Correct me if I'm wrong. Right now, as Louis is going to get 25 points added to his time, so I think 153 points, I believe, maybe 54 with the fastest lap right now. So Matthew's not going to lose the championship lead, but Louis is going to catch up quite a lot to Matthew Alder, which isn't good for him. As we have said, Matthew hasn't been really challenged at the start of the season. It looked like Renault dominance, but right now there has been a few errors from Matthew. And Louis at the moment still in the lead, 26.9 seconds. He is on form right now. Battle 4 P2 still hotting up though. Harrison's dropped off a little bit, 3 seconds still. As Caden's lag is getting a bit worse for wear. I think he's gonna excuse me. Gotta say though, Kevin, what do you think's going to be playing through Matthew's head right now? Do you think he's going to start being more aggressive, or do you think he's just going to lay low a little bit? Or what do you think he'll be doing?
Looking at it, if he didn't have the first lap collision, I think that he'd probably be in second right now. I'm not sure if he'd be so close to Louis, because he looks pretty dominant around here, but I think he would be in second, so sure he'll lose out in the championship, but I don't think he'll lose out to a point where he thinks it needs to start being more aggressive. I think just I'd say he'd say, I'm just gonna do things the same way that I always do things, and just keep going, because what he's doing right now, I mean, he's leading the championship. He's still going to keep leading the championship, so I don't think he needs to change a mindset or anything.
Yeah, I do agree with that. But right now, battle for P2 is Bran and Caden. They've been battling, I believe, now for 10 laps straight. Actually, I'm completely wrong. It's actually 8 laps straight. I was actually looking at Louis' tyres. Almost 9 laps straight now. But right now, Bran is just defending and defending. Will there be a lunge now from Caden into the chicane? No, close enough. This is where Brandon is good. Unfortunately, he don't perform this in the dries, unfortunately. He's very good at inters. However, he's not the best like Louis, of course, because Louis is leading by almost 30 seconds. But Caden is already attempting on the outside.
Caden on the outside, he's a lot more side by side as well.
Oh, there's contact!
Around
contact!
The outside.
There was extreme contact there. I think Bran is actually going to let him through. Yep. Bran has finally lost the position.
Finally, Caden gets through for second place. He's gonna love the fact that he's gonna see that Mercedes finally behind him, and now he can try and push on to try and pull away, because from that battling, it looks like Harrison did actually gain a few tenths.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you on that. However, though, Bran, I can tell, won't be happy with that contact into turn 1. Possibly may have put it to the Stewarts. It didn't look the best from each other. It was inevitable there's possibly going to be a crash between these two, as they're fighting very closely between each other. But you never know. Bran might be a nice guy and let it go and just say it might have been a racing incident. However, though, we've got to wait and see how Brandon is feeling right now, as he's currently in P3, so he shouldn't be that let down, as I'm going to go on position update and fastest lap. Currently, the fastest lap is a 140.6 from Louis, but the biggest gainers today is Brandon, 9 positions gain, and the biggest losers actually Diego and Raphael in 9th and 10th, 7th and 6th positions lost, but in 9th and 10th. As right now we're going to go back on pit stops, as the only person who's made a 3-stop is Lee and Raphael. Gap between the leader between Harrison and Louis is 32.4 seconds from 4th, and Matthew Alder to Louis is almost 2 pit stop gaps, I believe.
Yeah,
43 seconds.
Caught up to Sterling now, and he's most likely going to be making a move very soon. So Matthew, ever since the contact, he's been on a charge, and he's went from, I think, like P8, and now he's challenging for P5, so maybe he was driving with a little bit of extra kind of like, I need to get back these positions, and he's doing it very well.
I've got to agree with you on that. However, though, I also have to disagree with you on that as well. Matthew has been pushing, but you know, if he had a better qualifying run, maybe that wouldn't have happened. As it yells in sector 1 now, someone has crashed. Who's crashed? No one's crashed. However, though, if he qualified a bit higher up, like probably second, this probably couldn't have happened, and it may have been actually Diego, Raphael, and actually Sondre, or someone else like that. But between Matthew and Bran today, I think...
big lock-up.
Oh, very big lock-up there for Matthew. I think those two are definitely in the vote for driver of the day right now. Bran's edging it a little bit ahead of Matthew right now, since he started at the back of the grid and made his way through. But Matthew, if Matthew can get 4th place possibly, if he pushes extremely, then he'll get it within 7 laps. I know it's possibly not going to be able to do it. It's a 12-second gap, of course, but you never know. Anything can happen in F1, like Australian IRL F2. There was 8 runners, then dropped to 4 within the final few laps, as Caden gets the 3-second time added to his time.
Yeah, it's actually really drying up. I think it could well be time for.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
softs.
it's actually stopped raining. It has stopped raining. So will it dry up within 4 to 3 laps? Will we get faster times? Oh, yellow's in sector 3. Who is it?
That's
It's Can. Where's he crashed? Has he crashed that 130R?
Yeah, I think he has.
No, and that isn't within the 90% rule,
like
so he won't be getting any points. Yes, there's the racing points.
To
So
the right. Ooh.
big crash there from Can. It's unfortunate because he was doing so well for P8. However, though, Stirling's pitted very early on the set of soft tyres. Now that is very strange because I don't think it is ready for those tyre compound yet.
Maybe he's just maybe chancing his arm a little bit. I mean, he's not going to lose out too much if it's not too bad of a tire, and actually it doesn't really look too bad. There's no more spray out coming off the tires, so that actually might have been a good call.
True, however though, look how much Diego has caught up with him on the inters. Diego's all over him, and he's just he was around about 2 seconds out of the pits, and within a few corners he's around about a few tenths. However though, the softs may be a bit cold. However, Louis is in the pit, so maybe it is dry tyres. Can you keep an eye on the BRO between Diego and Sterling for me as I check on the tyres Louis just goes on? As Louis looks like he's gone on a set of soft tyres as well, so maybe it is soft tyre times, and Sterling was going to try and look for the fastest lap, but I don't know if he'll maybe be able to keep it if Louis has enough time as he comes out in the pits with a big enough gap. As Bran pits, so Bran's doing the undercut on Caden. Will Bran salvage his P2 spot? Also going on the soft tyres. Harrison, 5 second time penalty speed in the pit. So will Sondre, will the Renault team double stack? As Matthew Alder is in. Will he hold up Harrison? Yes, he does. He holds up Harrison a little bit. Will Sondre pit? Yes, Renault are doing a double stack. So will this affect Sondre as well? The Renault mechanics are free. This is going to be close. No, it doesn't affect the Renault mechanics at all that much. Very few tenths lost. And the Renaults are out. P5 and 6. Diego's now in, and I believe Raphael will pit as well. What do you think of Caden though, Kevin? Do you think he's going to manage to hold P2 and risk on those inters? Or do you think Brandon is going to catch up quite quickly and steal that P2?
Obviously when Sterling boxed for soft tyres, the inches on Diego were quite competitive, if not quicker, so I'd say it's probably better to be on the softs, but I don't think it's going to give you a massive advantage till maybe the next lap. If it starts getting really like a lot quicker right at the end of the lap, we'll see, but it looks like the gap that he has right now,
yeah, he's getting eaten.
Just about be enough.
It is being eaten by 2 seconds. It was 24.4, it's now 22.9, so the soft tyres are the better tyre. Coming the gap now, 22.6. Raphael is still in the pits. Has he actually got a extra penalty? No, he's out now. So sorry about that, as Caden now comes into the pits. Now, will Caden, 22 seconds he had the gap, will he get ahead of Brandon? Now, I don't know if he's got a 5 second time penalty added for pit stop, so we'll have to wait and see. Nope, the McLaren mechanics are trying to change it quickly as possible.
Brand's now coming through the final chicane.
This is going to be close between the Mercedes and the McLaren. Has Caden done enough in the inters to pull away from Bran?
Oh,
this is
going
it.
To be very close. He comes out. They could end up side by side.
Oh, Caden just gets his car out, but he. Oh no! Did you just see what I just saw on the information screen about penalties just then?
No.
Caden's just got a 5 second time penalty crossing the pit line.
Oh, well, that could end up losing him this P2 because there's only a few laps left. There's obviously going to be a lap pressure compared to Brandon, but I don't think it's going to be.
Oh, but there is another battle further on track.
Benefit.
Yeah, you're alright. But there is another battle on track, Matthew versus Harrison. So if you want to keep an eye on that battle for me while I keep an eye on Brandon and Caden, because I think Brandon is quick on the soft tyres. There's right now under 2 tenths between Matthew. I actually might have to swap to Matthew very shortly because however, I wish I had like 2 split screens. Unfortunately, I don't have that. As right now, Louis just set the new fast start 136 flat. As I'm going to get on board on Matthew very shortly. Will Brandon get on the slipstream against Caden? It doesn't look like it. So I'm going to go on board with Matthew Alder. Will Matthew get ahead of Harrison? The reserve for the Red Bull drive today. As here comes Matthew Alder, punching him, trying to get him out of the way, trying to go on the outside through 130R, through 130R, side by side. Diego's left the session lagged out. He has to make it back within time limit. Oh, Brand's actually got ahead of Kid.
If this is or not, it might be lag. His car might not actually be in third, but coming out of the chicane, from what I saw, he had a massive tank slapper and had to correct it, and that lost him.
Matthew side by side into turn one. Oh, very aggressive driving from the youngster. Matthew Alder, the championship points defending leader currently, battling for P4. Red Bull versus Renault. Harrison versus Alder. Who's going to win and take P4 and get 12 points to his name? And right now, Diego sets a new fast start 134.8. However, that may be questioned if that was his AI, because we do know there is a glitch with the AI. When you lag out, you can glitch your way through. However, this is the only battle we do have on track, but Matthew is absolutely flying in the Renault right now. The engine is on overtake, fuel on rich, possibly. And he's probably asking for more power right now. As Harrison still ahead in P4, Lewis at new fast lap 133.2. But enough about faster slaps. This is about for P4. Matthew Alder versus Harrison. Oh, a bit of lag there from Harrison there. That could really affect Matthew. Could be a bit desync, possibly. As it comes now to the straight. Will Matthew attempt for the outside? It looks like he's going to go and try the outside yet again. Harrison has to give him a bit of space. Will he go on the outside through 130R? Will there be any contact? No, Matthew gets ahead before Harrison can make the corner. Great move from Matthew. However, Harrison isn't finished. He's going into the Proston Centre crash corner where they had a collision in the McLarens. No, Matthew prevails and holds Harrison into fifth. Matthew Alder sets a new fastest lap 133.1. Kevin, I've got to give Matthew a bit of credit with that attempt at the start earlier on the outside, overtaking Harrison, but then pulled it off again. Got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a great move in the end. You had to really commit to it, though. You had to trust that Harrison would back out of it, and he did. And now it looks like he is starting to pull away, although he doesn't really have much battery left.
It may be true, but currently he's out of DRS zone. But however, the person who's not out of DRS zone is Brandon Glover and Caden yet again. They're going for another round in this points fight. McLaren versus Mercedes, as Lewis sets new fast lap 131.4. However, I believe Matthew set a 133.1. So Louis 2 seconds faster. So that's how quick the track is drying up. So here comes Caden now. Will he go on the outside of Bran? Will he try and copy what Matthew did? Round the outside. Here comes Bran. Here comes Caden. Oh, almost contact. Now into the chicane turn 18. So I think 17, 16, 18. Yep, that is right. Nice tie there from Caden. Gets the position done. And Bran won't be happy. Matthew Alder gets another penalty added to his time. 3 seconds. But this battle looks like is going to the end. Will this be enough time for Matthew Alder? New fastest lap 130.8. Matthew is flying. Cutting the gap 7.2 seconds to the battle for P2. On your few laps remaining. Oh, Brandon Caden almost coming to blows yet again. This is great racing from the McLaren and the Mercedes driver. Diego sets new fastest lap 130.4 now, so Diego's starting to pick up the pace a little bit.
Yeah, I just had a look there. Caden has 8 seconds penalties and Brandon only has 3, so
Brandon's definitely got P2. I do agree there, Paco. This is a great ending right now. A huge battle on track for a few positions, as Louis is actually being doing one of your positions, Paco Suarez. This reminds me of Abu Dhabi. When you and me were battling, you made an extra pit stop because you had the gap. Now this could be crucial for Louis. This could also end in error and calamity, as also you found out, my friend. Louis is currently gone into the pits for another set of soft tyres and is coming out on track with a big gap, around about 10 seconds I'm going to guess. 10 to 12 seconds.
I like to say I called that.
As Harrison gets another penalty added to his time. Albert Sterling is currently in 6th, 2.2 seconds off Harrison, so maybe there may be a penalty swap position round. Possibly true. You were true there, Paco, but you took the risk in the pit stop strategy and it prevailed on the final few laps. However, though, Louis has got a huge gap between Caden. I was around about 10 to 15 seconds, as right now it's 14.4. He's going to try and steal that fast lap from Matthew right now.
And obviously it's just been a completely and utterly dominant drive from Louis. Not put a foot wrong all race, and this is why he was able to just make a stop and still come out 15 seconds in the lead. So I'd have to say congratulations on how his race has gone. It's obviously not finished, and I might have just jinxed it, but like his whole race has just been like perfect, pretty much.
Oh, right now we're going to see his qualifying
run.
run.
In the position he's in.
Yeah, I have to give Louis. He's been lucky with the incident at the start, but he set a new fastest lap. Let's have a look on his qualifying, basically second extra qualifying attempt. Let's see what Louis can do as we go into telemetry mode on and see what his lap will be. Nice and tidy through turn 1 and 2. Now the tricky S section, got to get this crucial. Get as much time as you can. Nice lines there from Louis, just relaxing, taking his time. Great entries and exits there from Louis. So much grip he has on those soft tyres compared to the wets and inters, as he's now approaching sector 1, 1.2 seconds up on his provisional fastest lap time. As right now he is absolutely a man on a mission to probably try and set a 129 and just stop Matthew Alder having any chance to get the fastest lap to try and help him in the championship standings. Louis knows he wants this win, and it will be his 4th win in a row if he can keep this going, because this is the final lap of the race, I've just realised. So here comes Louis into turn 13 and 14 now. Got to get it right. Perfect there from Louis. Great exit as he's now approaching into 130R. Coming down the big main straight. What's his top speed going to be out in the Alfa Romeo? 192 miles an hour through 130R. Coming into the last bit of the section of the course, little chicane. Let's see what time Louis is going to do. Will it be the new fastest lap? Of course it is. A 128.9 takes its 4th win in a row. Caden is going to take second. Raphael is confirmed for P9. However, here comes Caden through the final corner. Will he keep second? Because apparently Brandon may have damage. It don't look like it. Caden P2. Will he keep P2 though? However, no. Brandon takes P2 quickly off him. Matthew Alder P4, 2.4 seconds. So good comeback there from Matthew Alder. However, Matthew Alder will get my drive of the day. Harrison in 6th, crashes into the wall, Sterling in P5. The Bottle Haug himself was battling for the podium position at the start. P6 now. Harrison drops to 7th, and Diego, after bit of the crash with Matthew and Raphael, will take 8th. Great driving from everybody today, and the drive of the day does go to Matthew Alder, in my opinion. Well, who was your drive of the day today, Kevin?
Well, I'd say my driver today is Bran. I mean, he came from 12th and finished 2nd, and how Louis was in a league of his own, it's like a little win for him, so I would say Bran's my driver today.
So we've got different votes for the driver of the day. Of course, you can let us know of your driver of the day in the comments, but the man on top step yet again in the 4th time in the row for the Alpha is Louis. Another pole position, fastest lap, 26 points added to his tally, and he's so closing on Matthew Alder. Caden will be happy with P3, but Brian will be also happy with P2 starting near the back of the grid, and Matthew will be happy that he salvaged 4th. I believe he qualified there as well. So this is your official results. Kevin, if you want to read down the official results.
Yeah, so Lewis obviously takes the win. Quite a dominant win it was, ended up winning by 22 seconds and also without penalty. Brandon Glover coming from 12th, finishing 2nd. Caden in 3rd, losing 2nd on penalties. Matthew Alder recovering up to P4, Harrison in 5th, Diego 6th, Sondre 7th. Oh wait, Sterling 5th, yeah. Diego 2nd, 6th. Messing up. Sondre 7th, Harrison 8th, Rafa 9th, Can 10th, and then Lee and Chaos. Oh no, wait, Can, Lee and Chaos.
Yep, and plus we also have Tom and Nino, unfortunately, like that session out of qualifying. But with only 12 cars racing in the race, only 9 cars finishing yet again. IRL are showing great racing between the top runners. You saw battles between Brandon and Caden. Matthew Alder fighting his way through the pack, and even Sondre at the start of the race battling for podium position. However, though, the top step yet again on the podium is Louis.
It was a great race. I mean, there was battles all the way through, and obviously there was a bit of drama at the start with the collision between Matthew, that was Diego, and I'm not really sure who was the third one involved with it. But
I think it was Raphael, Diego, and Matthew.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you had a bit of drama there, and them trying to come back through the field. Obviously, Matthew did it most successfully, I guess. And yeah, apart from that, we also had great battles all the way through, and obviously we had a bit of rain as well, so it kind of just had everything, to be honest.
Well, as I'm going to get ready for the podium interviews, Bran is requesting an invite. He does deserve it. He did get the podium today, congratulations. So I believe the top 3 was Louis, Brandon and Caden. So I'll just invite Brandon and... Where is Caden? Where is Caden? Where is Caden? Where is Caden? For some reason I don't have Caden on my list. Where's he gone? Yeah, that'll do for me. Chase, can you... Actually, no, I might be able to suggest Louis. Alright, then tell him when you've suggested him, mate, so I can send that invite. Ah, you have. Good. I think it's because he was appearing offline. Well then, while we wait for the drivers on the podium, top 3, to join the interviews, as Brandon has made it into the interviews first. As we'll possibly start with him very shortly. As also Caden has joined as well. Well, you two have just joined right now. I've got to ask, is your mic on always allow? How about you, Brandon? Right. Well then, I'm going to start off with the second place driver, Brandon Glover. Well then, my friend, you've done a very great result today, P2 from 12th on the grid. What is your feelings after today's race?
Well, obviously I'm happy. First podium of the season, and well, probably my only one, considering the only reason I got it because everyone got taken out, all the quick guys got taken out at the start. But you know, yeah, it's good. That's some, well, questionable battles. You know, it was a good battle, but Robson, that was crazy.
Bit of lag.
Yeah, it was lag. And obviously Matthew was catching at the end, but I'm pretty sure I had him covered. I knew what pens he had and stuff, so that was fine. So yeah, I'm happy with the podium. Feels good, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you've done a great result, avoided the big crash between Raphael, Matthew Alder and Diego. However though, there's one thing that didn't come to plan, and that was your qualifying. Unfortunately you qualified, I believe, 13th, and then 2 people lagged out, so you were 12th. Unfortunately your qualifying didn't go to as planned.
Yeah, I don't know what, I'm not really good around Japan. It's not one of my strong tracks. It was last game, but this game is just a complete rule, really. Yeah, not just this league, other leagues, my qualifying has been good, my race pace has been good, so look, I think the wet really saved me.
Well done. I ain't got any more questions except the final question, but I'm just going to ask Kevin, have you got any questions for Bran?
No, I think you kind of covered pretty much everything.
Right. Well then, I believe next week is, if I can get the calendar up dead quick, next race is Singapore. not my favourite track, but yeah. On 7th of December, how are you? Actually, it's 7th today because car doesn't mean update. But how do you feel around that track, and what position you may get?
Singapore. Well, I think if I don't bottle it, which I have done there before, on numerous occasions, I think my pace would be good. I enjoy driving the track. But again, it's just there's so many quick guys now here, so I'm not going to be up there, you know, on raw pace. I'm going to have to get lucky if I want to get another podium or top 5, something like that. But you know, I'll be better for points, and that's what I'm aiming for, really. You know, just high up in the points as possible, I suppose.
Well, that's you're hoping for points finish. Well, let's hope you get more than that. Hope you could continue your podium from what happened today. However, though, Brand, great result. You were Kevin's vote for drive of the day. Unfortunately, you were mine at one point, but my few got 4th, so he takes it from me for there. However, though, great result from today, and cheers for joining us at interviews. As we'll see you next week at Singapore.
Yep.
Well then, Kieran, I've only got one question to ask you, and then I'm going to give you to Kevin. Were you expecting a podium today at all?
I thought it could be on the cards. I'm pretty fast around here. My pace was good overall. In the wet, it wasn't too great. I was on the dry side, but in the dry, I'm really there. So I was I wouldn't have been surprised.
Right. Alright then, well, that's the only question I did have for you, unfortunately, as I possibly think Kevin's got a few questions for you. So Kevin, if you want to ask him a few questions, and then I'll try and get Louis in dead quick if he wants to join.
Yeah, so obviously you ended up crossing the line in 2nd, and without your penalties, I guess that's kind of the win, because it was a bit like a Formula 1 with Louis, and then a Formula 1.5 with the rest of the grid, because Louis just kind of ran away with it.
Louis just Louis is just Louis. That's why you ran away.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall, your race was really good. But you want to take us through your race as a whole? Obviously, you had a pretty close battle with Brandon in particular.
I'm lagging so hard now. I heard something about a battle, but yeah, if you can hear me, my rate. I didn't have the best. But after the big crash, I made up for my bad start, and then the first stint pretty okay. Then onto inches, I had a big battle with Brian after he jumped me in the pits. But I'm surprised me and Brandon had crashed with the lag I've been having recently. But I think it was a good race for me. My dry pace was really good as well at the end.
Yeah. Next week, as Jared mentioned, is Singapore. Do you think you can be up there like you were today, or do you think you might be a little bit further down the grid, or how's your pace?
I should be today, like maybe 5th, 6th. I feel pretty good around Singapore. I feel like, you know, it's just a fun track to drive and I really enjoy it. So, good.
Yeah, congratulations on your P3 and good luck for next week.
Bye.
Thank you, Caden, for joining us in interviews. I hope you do well at Singapore next week, as he has just left the party, so I don't think he heard me there, as he was lagging, unfortunately, in the stream. So, unfortunately, if you guys didn't get all of what he was saying, I do apologise for that. However, though, Kevin, it's been a great race, and it's been an Alfa Romeo at top once again from Louis.
Yeah, and it looks like Louis is going to be challenging Matthew with that lead he's got. He has got a pretty good lead, to be fair to Matthew, but it looks like it is coming down. It has been coming down for quite a while. Obviously, Louis won the last 4 races now, so I think that it's going to end up being quite close come the end of the season. And it'll be interesting as well to see when Matthew will get his next win, because he hasn't got a win in a while. So.
Yeah, you're correct there. Matthew has been on a poor streak as far. He's had some good podium positions, but not the win he needs to try and help his championship points lead. And yep, gotta say, Louis been dominant these 4 races. Win, 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 and a win. He's basically done Jensen Button in the 2009 season in LeBrun. But right now, Louis is your winner today in IRL Season 6 at Japan at round 12. I've been your host, Jared Fosbury as Neon Rapido as Nexus Clone. And I've been joined in the commentary booth by Kevin or as Nexus Aspect. Have you got anything else to say, Kevin, before we get going?
Not really. It was a good race. I hope you all enjoyed, and hopefully you join us for next week.
As it was a good race, and I hope you do guys join us for next week. However, if you want to see more IRL content, join us tomorrow, that's Sunday, for IRL F2, hopefully a bigger turnout, and IRL F3 at 4:30 UK time. And if you want to see me and Kevin again, join us next week on Saturday at 6 o'clock UK time. See you guys then. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.